In Subnautica, we needed Magnetite to build certain things. Below Zero is no different. But where in Subnautica, we had the lovely Jellyshroom Caves, which featured single pieces of Magnetite, as well as the large drillable deposits of Magnetite, we don't get that in Below Zero. Instead of the large drillable deposits, we'd have the new ore veins. This means you get some Magnetite in large quantity, but you don't have to do all the drilling. So let's talk about the best place to get Magnetite in Subnautica Below Zero. Now, if you've played Subnautica at least a couple of times, you probably think first, like I said, of the Jellyshroom Caves for Magnetite. Below Zero, we don't have the Jellyshroom Caves. We do, however, have a biome that is very similar, and that is the deep Lilypad Caves. You can find the deep Lilypad Caves by going first into the Lilypad biome, which you will have to do at some point anyway, and looking for the big chunk of rock that I am looking at right now. You can also find it at the coordinates on screen. Now, there is a story element right here, but I'm not going to spoil it for you if you don't want that. So just know you will have to come here for other reasons. Diving down through the separation between the large chunk of rock and the cave walls, you will see some Magnetite as you go down. And you can feel free to go ahead, jump out, and grab these few little pieces. In the deep Lilypad Caves, you will find other resources, and you are going to have to come down here anyway at some point for an element of the story. But as you travel through, you will find Magnetite hidden along the ceilings and the walls of this biome. And again, most people are going to think, come to this area because it's so similar to the Jellyshroom Caves from the original game. But is this really the best location for getting Magnetite? The simple answer to that is no, it's not. You will find Magnetite here, but it's very spread out. You're not going to find large amounts of it spawning all around you on the walls. You'll find a few pieces here and there. But it is advantageous because there's resources like ruby and diamond down here. And of course, again, you'll be coming down here anyway for a part of the story. Now, you can find Magnetite in other places, such as the Purple Crystal Caverns, which unfortunately are going to have you being chased by Shadow Leviathans. So instead, I want to show you the place I've found to have the highest concentration of Magnetite in a small area with no big Leviathans trying to eat you. Back in early access, you actually entered into the Glacial Basin through a set of tunnels in the Glacial Bay. Later, the dock and Phyrobotics base locations were moved, and eventually the Phyrobotics dock was added to the game where it is now. But one thing that stayed from the early pathway is the pathway itself. So you will have to navigate down below the ice shelf in the Glacial Bay and around the eye jellies, but let's face it, they're pretty slow. And if you've been playing the game since early access when you had to go this route anyway, you probably already know it's here. So at the coordinates on screen, you will see these two cave entrances. These are the way we went in originally to the Glacial Basin. Now, it doesn't really matter which pathway you take because they will merge as you get further into the tunnel, but to make things simple, let's take the left tunnel. Now, as you come into this area, you will find a few different pathways. Now, to the right, you will find the other pathway that you would have come through if you came in. And to the left here, you will find a loop around to the middle. Straight ahead of here in the middle is the loop around from the right tunnel, as well as another tunnel that goes to the left and a tunnel that goes straight ahead. And then we have to the left the main tunnel that leads into the big section of this. So first, let's go straight down the middle. And at this branch, we want to go down the middle again. In this room, you will find 4 ore veins: silver, copper, and magnetite. Now, I have not personally had a problem grabbing magnetite from these cave locations for the most part. Sometimes you have to wiggle a little bit, but if you do worry about having problems grabbing it, just bring a propulsion cannon. So coming back out of this little section, straight ahead is where we came in, and if you go to the right, it's going to loop around to the big section. But don't go this way yet. Let's go back down the middle, and then take the right path, because you don't want to miss this cave. In this cave, you should find some eye jellies. They are easy to avoid. Come around, you've got copper and silver, and you've got more magnetite. You can also dive down in this section and find some more silver and copper deposits below. Now, you shouldn't have any trouble navigating with the main sea truck cabin through these caves, but if you're doing this without the sea truck, just your sea glide and oxygen tank, laser cut these big snowballs to release oxygen in the same way that the brain coral did in the original game. Now, at this point, we want to continue down the main tunnel, which, coming from the entrance, is to the left. So going down the tunnel, the first section you're going to notice is this larger section with the thermal vent. In this area, you will find some ore veins in the wall. Now, facing in towards the back wall and the thermal vent, if you look to the right, there is a small recess cave. And in this cave, you will find 3 more ore veins. The magnetite one might be easy to miss, but it's just the one to the upper right. I've barely gone anywhere in this cave system, and you can see how much magnetite I have already collected. Now, at this point of the tunnel system, things are starting to thin out. You will still see some ore veins for magnetite, silver, and copper around. You just gotta pay attention to the little ore vein look, and then get in there and snag everything. But continuing up this tunnel will bring you into the surface of the glacial basin, right next to where the dock originally was and the cave that used to house Phi Robotics. So with very little effort, I have a ton of magnetite just from this one cave. Now, it's not as good as the Jellyshroom Caves with the big deposits were in the original game, but this is still the place I've found with the largest concentration of magnetite in such a small area. And outside the few eye jellies, it's pretty much safe to swim around all you want. Now, if this video helped you out, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, and feel free to leave a comment saying thanks, saying hi, saying how much you enjoyed this video and it helped you out, or your favorite place to get magnetite in Below Zero if it is not this place I've just shown you.